r/pro revenge. A woman let her dog shit on the airport floor, so I shit on her plans. While walking to my gate at LAX, I noticed a woman whose dog was in the middle of doing its business. The woman was loudly FaceTiming with her back to the dog, so I assumed she didn't notice. That was likely the thought shared by the gentleman who tried to get her attention. "Excuse me, miss," he said, in a polite tone. The woman glared at him. "Your dog," he sheepishly continued, pointing to the mid-poop pup. The woman rolled her eyes and went back to FaceTime as the man slinked away, seemingly embarrassed. "Some people," she bellowed to her FaceTime companion with no hint of irony, "are just so damned rude." When her dog finished, the woman started walking away, leaving everything right on the airport floor. Another woman tried to stop her. "You're not going to clean that up?" she asked, as shocked as the rest of us were. "They have people for that," the offender replied, disappearing into the crowd, as much as someone yelling into their phone can disappear into a crowd. I stood near the pile and warned people to walk around it while someone else got a maintenance worker's attention. No one said anything. We were so shocked that anyone could be that horrible. When I got to my gate, the woman was there, too. Great, we were both going to Tokyo. When I travel abroad, I get embarrassed by other Americans doing things 100 times less embarrassing than leaving animal feces on the floor of an airport. To make it worse, her dog was now barking at everyone who walked by. I have nothing against people flying with their dogs. I do it often, but it is a privilege I take seriously. My dog is well trained and behaves better than most people. He certainly behaves better than that a-hole. Speaking of a-holes, there is a pet relief area inside LAX, past security, just 2 gates away from where the party pooper let her dog go to town. It didn't matter. She was the type of person to litter 3 feet from an empty garbage can. While her dog barked at the world, the woman had moved from FaceTiming with no headphones to listening to music with no headphones. I don't like to throw around the word sociopath, but I don't know how else I could explain just how selfish and terrible of a person she was. I'd bet her car was somewhere in long-term parking, parked across 3 spots with paint on the bumper from the child's bike she hit without leaving a note. Everyone else tried to ignore her, sitting as far away from her as they could. I am not everyone else. I sat down right next to the horrible woman. "Are you going to London on business?" I said. "I'm going to Tokyo," she responded gruffly, annoyed that I interrupted her DJing. "Oh," I said, "then you better hurry. That flight got moved to gate 53C. This is the flight to London." I figured I could give her a little moment of panic as payback for how terribly she was treating everyone. I didn't predict what would happen next. She grabbed her bags and her dog in a huff and stormed out of the gate without even checking. She was so self-involved. She didn't notice that the monitor at our gate still said Tokyo and almost everyone at the gate was Japanese. Based on her actions, she believed me that the fight had been moved. So she's also an a-hole for not thanking me. Some people, I thought as I watched her rush away from the gate without stopping her, are just so damned rude. The flight to Tokyo was at gate 69A, so the 53 gates were on the other side of the next terminal, and I felt guilty knowing she probably berated some poor clerk who had to explain to her that there was no gate 53C. I don't know if she made it back to this flight before we took off or not, but I didn't see her board and I don't hear her dog. Her missing her flight was not my original intention, but it would be a fine punishment for her being so rude to everyone and making a low-paid stranger clean feces off the floor. What makes me wonder if I went too far is the knowledge that Delta only has 1 flight to Tokyo each day. Whoops, maybe she can rebook on another airline. I hear they have people for that. Guy quit his job thinking he became rich. Hey, new to Reddit, I thought I would post my story here. I work for a construction company and we do remodeling on homes. We have a rule here that we get to keep anything we find hidden behind the walls. We hired this guy. We really needed a worker badly, who was a total a-hole from day one. I've been working for this company for 5 years and this guy has only been doing construction for 1 year after he got fired from his accounting job for getting a DUI. Anyways, he would always make fun of my clothes and my accent, and one day he went too far by telling my boss about my private Instagram account pics. He got on my phone and looked through my Instagram page and showed my boss pictures of me smoking weed. Little did he know that my boss is my friend from 8 years when we used to smoke together before we both quit. I was so mad that he violated my privacy, then I made a plan to duck him over. He was the kind of guy who would always come in late and complain that trains or traffic is why he was always late. One day I overheard him saying that if he won the lottery he would quit this job for not getting the respect he deserves. You have to earn your respect here. One day I bought some fake gold coins online and I put them in a metal box I found at the antique store and waited for a chance to hide it in a wall. Luckily I did not have to wait long. The day he found the coins it seemed like it was his best day ever. First thing he did when he opened the box, he called my boss a failing loser and he quit immediately on the spot. He said F this place, I'm rich. Lol. Little did he know that was the best day of my life. After he quit my boss told us that he was going to fire him anyways for always showing up late. I wish I could see the look on his face when he finds out the gold coins are fake. Best $40 I spent in my life. I apologize for my grammar. This just happened today and my adrenaline is pumping hard. Thanks for reading. College professor passes out handwritten textbook. This is a story I recall from college. As any college student is aware, textbooks have been a scam for a very long time. Some professors used it to their advantage. In fact, one professor I had assigned 5 required books for his class, 4 of which he authored or co-authored and received royalties from that we barely used. One of my favorite professors was fed up with the college textbook scam. He authored an engineering textbook but was furious at the price the bookstores were charging students. The publisher and the university owned most of the rights to the textbook, so he didn't have any control over pricing or distribution. He did find one caveat to the publisher's contract. Even though he could not reproduce and distribute printed copies of the book or any of its contents, it didn't say anything about non-print content. So my professor hand-copied the entire text, including equations, graphs and figures. He made copies of his handwritten textbook and passed them out at the beginning of class. We had to hole punch and put it in a binder, but it was well worth a couple $100 savings. And my professor got some revenge for the unethical practices of college textbook publishers. I planted over 5,000 dandelion weeds in my neighbor's garden. Here's some backstory. I have a 4-year-old Cocker Spaniel named Charlie and he likes to poop. I let him out in my front garden every morning for his toilet routine. Same in the evening. We don't have a boundary fence on where my garden and my neighbor's starts besides a row of bushes. Saying this, Charlie hasn't ever pooped past these bushes. Now every week, I collect up said poop before it gets into a disturbing amount. I've been doing this for the past 4 years to keep my front garden looking good and not smelly. One day I came home from work to find that my neighbors weren't happy that there was dog poop in my front garden. I instantly went to collect up what was there. There wasn't much and it was nowhere near the boundary of where our gardens met. Fast forward a week. My neighbor again complained about the dog poop being in my garden, however this time threatened to hurt my dog if he continued to poop in my garden. This time I wasn't so nice about it and stated that it's my garden and my dog can do as he pleases. Now I know dog poop can be annoying, but when it's not in your garden and there's no smell due to decent airflow and open front garden, is it really justified to threatening a man's dog over some poop? Anyway, after months of this going with petty things and shade being thrown at me every day about having a dog, I decided to declare war on my neighbors. Now I knew these people pretty well. They'd just moved in and we let them use our Wi-Fi for a couple of months until they got theirs sorted. I picked up a few things about them and one of them was how OCD they were. They cut their back garden every week and painted the entire bottom layer of the house to match their fence. This was all the fuel I needed to exact my revenge. My first step was to start off small. I knew they liked things to match, so I painted my fence gate bright pink instead of matching it with my fence. This was my first small victory. They hated it so much they begged me to correct the color. So I did. I figured if peace was an option it was worthwhile. Then began the hate again. I had to come up with something so evil and yet genius that couldn't be traced back to me. This is when I planted over 5,000 dandelion seeds in their front and back garden. I figured I was in this for the long game. I did this under the cover of night and made sure to plant them in places not easily mowed. Fast forward 3 months and their garden was covered in weeds. They grew through all the slabbing and were patched all over the garden. It took them over 3 days to clear the weeds and around 100 pounds of weed killer. Long story short, a-hole neighbors threatens to hurt my doggo. I plant 5,000 weeds in their garden. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking mad lad. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content. It's free and that's a great price.